Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
We have a great panel, and we're going to start off with my good friends from New Jersey, and they're going to talk about integrated treatment, and I'm going to have my good friend Bob Budsoc from Integrity House kick it off for us. Bob?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shishma. Could everyone hear me? Could the people in the back row hear me? Yes? Is there anyone here from New Delhi? New Delhi? Yes? Okay, I am going to tell you a story about New Delhi, and I'm going to try to speak slowly and clearly because I know everyone has different... I speak English and I don't speak the native language, but it's a very good story about New Delhi. So I arrived here in New Delhi about 4 days ago, and when I arrived in New Delhi, I lost the hearing in my right ear, okay? So normally, my hearing is not good, but when I came off the airplane, I could not hear at all out of my right ear. So one of my colleagues from the USA, SPYM, where is SPYM? Raise your hand, SPYM, so I could see. There he is, SPYM. SPYM told me, when you get to New Delhi, if you ever need anything, I have family here, and they're here to help you. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would say, hey, SPYM, I need to see a doctor for my ear. So what happened is that I want to tell you about my experience yesterday. So SPYM has an uncle that lives here in New Delhi, and also he has a niece. And the niece is an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And she works at the hospital, the clinic over at Connaught Place. So last night around 6 p.m., SPYM's uncle, who I've never met before, his name is Samveep. Samveep comes to the hotel and he says, come in the car with me and I'm going to take you and get you help. So he drove me over to the hospital, and we waited about 5 minutes, and his daughter, who is the doctor, came out of the hospital because the clinic was closing. During the day yesterday, she saw 100 patients for ear, nose, and throat issues. And the clinic was closed. And she came out, and we sat on a bench outside the clinic, and she had her doctor's magnifying glass and light and everything, and she looked in my ear, and she says, you have problems in your ear. You have wax in your ear, you have fluid in your ear. So at this point, I just met this gentleman from Delhi, and I met his niece. They didn't know who I was. So the gentleman drove me to the hospital, and then we all got in the car together, and she brought some tools with her, and medical instruments, and they drove me back to the hotel that I'm staying at, the Le Meridian. We went up to my room. I have photos of this as proof, and she extracted the wax from my ear. And then, you know, when it was, this is after seeing 100 patients already during the day, and she was done work, ready to go home, and SPYM's uncle, who is the, Solina, is the doctor. I said to him, like, I'm just so appreciative of what you have done for me today. And what he said is that I want your experience in Delhi to be a great experience, and this is how we treat people in Delhi. That we are, yes, thank you. And I hope the folks that are from Delhi, you know, Samveep said to me that we are all humans, and we're here to help one another. And if I'm not here to help you, why am I here? And I was just really, really so touched, and I tried to give them money. I want to give them India money, U.S. dollars. They said, no, we want nothing. And what I did want to do to honor them is to actually share this story with the audience today, that I love New Delhi, and I love the people in New Delhi based on my experience last night. So now I will start my presentation, and I am here, I am from New Jersey in the USA. New Jersey is right across the river from New York City, and I'm here to talk about a couple of things. We really want you to walk away with the understanding of three things today. We want to talk about community as method, which is the therapeutic community. We want to talk about whole person care, and then George, who is co-presenting with me, is going to talk about the evolution of the TC. And I'm going to talk a little bit about community as method. So this is the Integrity House Creed, and I don't know, Integrity House was formed back in 1968, and I'm not sure if we invented this creed or if we stole this from someone else. But the creed, this is the mantra that we repeat, all of our clients repeat every day at Integrity House. And it's here in my home with the help of my family, I will gain the strength to put my life back together again. I know it will be painful because facing myself is not easy. At times I want to run, but fear will not control my life any longer. I will accept responsibility for who I am because only I could change the future. With the help of my family, I will use the tools of honesty, trust, friendship, and openness. I will build a new me, and I will serve as a model for all of the lonely, frightened people who come to live in my home. So this is something that we repeat every day at Integrity House, and we repeat it every day as a reminder that we are, the community is very powerful, and we are there to help ourselves and to help each other. This is, again, when I talk about community as a method, there's a couple resources here, and hopefully you'll get a copy of the slides. But you know, the first is community as a method, as described by George de Leon, who in the United States and also worldwide, he's really been a pioneer in terms of documenting the therapeutic community, which we also refer to as community as method, and he's also done research in the area. The second piece here is a little piece from Deitch and Drago from 2020. And that piece, which you'll have a link to this information, but that piece talks about the evolution of the TC and where we are at with the therapeutic community in 2020. So, okay, before we talk about whole person, I want to talk a little bit more about community as method. And I heard Shushma speak earlier, and I'm not even sure exactly what Shushma was referring to, but she was talking about acting as if your life depends on it, okay? When an individual is in a therapeutic community, or if they're in a detox or whatever facility that they are in seeking help, we encourage people to act as if their life is depending on it, because their life is depending on how much they are putting into the process. In the big difference, when I talk about community as a method, the big difference between community as method and your doctor-patient relationship, the big difference is that with community as a method, the individual is actually a participant in the community. Instead of being a recipient of services, they are a participant in services. And we find that when they're a participant in services, that they end up learning a lot about themselves in the community. In the doctor-patient relationship, and I love doctors, and doctors are fabulous, and doctors do a lot of good things for the folks that we work with, but the doctor is just one person. The counselor is just one person. The therapist is just one person. In the therapeutic community, you have the entire family or the entire community that is with you every day, and if you're in a community of 20 or 30 other people, you have the benefit of getting feedback from all these different people who have a different lens that they're looking through. So they each see you a little differently, and they provide you with feedback that helps you gain self-awareness, and it helps you change. And that is the power of community that I wanted to talk to you about today. The other thing in the therapeutic community, and you may have heard this already in a previous session, but it's a highly structured community. It has a rigid schedule. Privileges are earned, sanctions are given when you walk out of line, and we try to teach individuals about patience and consistency and being responsible, being open, and we find that the community ends up being very powerful in eliciting the change in the individual. You know, something that we have that's very common that we see at Integrity House, and I'm sure you see it here in Delhi, and we see it in other countries throughout the world, is that a lot of folks that come with us have a problem with impulse control. They want what they want when they want it. And in the therapeutic community, using the community as a method, we hope to teach people to delay gratification and to work really hard for the things that they want, and to almost build on those successes, where they start conditioning themselves that they know that, you know, the instant gratification ends up in a lot of self-destructive behavior. And the instant gratification is using drugs or some other self-destructive behavior. However, if I don't do drugs and I just really work really hard and I continue to do the next right thing and I practice right living, that I'm going to build an amazing life for myself. And we really try to make that happen. That's really the miracle of community as method and the miracle of the therapeutic community. I'm going to talk a little bit about whole person care. So, in the United States, the average life expectancy is 76 years, and that's probably a little longer than what it is here in New Delhi. I know worldwide the average life expectancy is 72.98 years, so 73 years. What we have found in research in the United States is that an individual who is using substances and also has a comorbid mental health issue and a physical health issue, a chronic medical problem, that their average life expectancy is 47 years. So when someone comes to us at Integrity House, they come to us for the addiction treatment. But at the same time, we can't ignore their mental health issues and their primary health care issues, because while we'll help them get clean and get off of drugs and hopefully learn how to stay off of drugs in the long term, if we don't address the medical issues, they will end up having a lower quality of life and a shorter length of life as a result of the unaddressed medical issues. And when we talk about whole person care at Integrity House, it's hard to read this entire chart, but in 1968, we just started as a house with 6 people living in the house, and everybody came together to try to help each other stay off of drugs. We've expanded tremendously over the past 54 years, and that includes all of the many services that you see in the circle that go beyond your residential care. Something that we're really proud of at Integrity House is called a Certified Behavioral Health Clinic. This was designed specifically to ensure that the people who are coming for help for substance use disorder, that when they come for help for a substance use disorder, that we are addressing these other chronic medical conditions, because we want their life expectancy and their quality of life to go beyond 47 years. And some of those, this is the Certified Community Behavioral Health Model. There are about 500 of them in the United States. There are 14 of them in New Jersey. That is the state that George and I are from, and that state is right across the river from New York City. As far as I know, there's only a couple therapeutic communities in the United States that have a certified community behavioral health center, and we're very, very proud to have one at Integrity House. We're seeing, at Integrity House, we treat 4,000, 5,000 people a year. But with the folks that have the comorbid medical conditions, we're treating 900 of them a year. So they come to us, the average age is 38 years old. Several of them are veterans that have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. They're very diverse in terms of their ethnicity and their race, etc. And it's something that we do for everyone that comes to this Certified Community Behavioral Health Center, is that we take a look at things such as their body mass index, their weight. We find that obesity is killing people in the United States. And you have somebody who has battled addiction, and then maybe they have a mental health issue, and then on top of that, they have obesity, which is a chronic medical condition, and that shortens their lifespan. So what I'm showing you here on this chart is just that we assess these areas when someone comes into the Certified Community Behavioral Health Center. And we assess the body mass index, the weight, blood pressure, blood sugar. We're finding a high rate of diabetes in the United States, and especially with the population that we work with. HIV/AIDS, which has not gone away. There was an epidemic with AIDS in the United States in the 1980s, but it still exists. And I should add to the HIV/AIDS is hepatitis C, that for the IV drug users, we're seeing quite a few folks that come to us who have hepatitis C. We also look at sexually transmitted diseases, cancer screenings, oral cancer screenings for folks that smoke. It's important that we do an oral cancer screening for them. And we assess all this upon admission, and then once they're in our care, receiving the whole person care, we hope to help manage them. When someone comes to Integrity House, into our Certified Community Behavioral Health Center, on the day that they walk in, they're going to see an addiction specialist, which I believe we have many of those folks in the room right now. They're going to see a mental health specialist. We have many of those in the room right now. And they're going to see a primary care physician, a medical doctor. They're going to see all three of those providers on the first day. And then they're going to be assigned a case manager to make sure that they follow up on all the recommendations to manage any chronic disease that may have been discovered upon admission. This is a little bit about medications for opiate use disorder. All of us are aware that there's been some advances, and this is just, it does not apply to methamphetamine use disorder. I know that I heard earlier in the week about the rise in opiate use in this area of Asia, and also methamphetamine use. So we do have effective drugs that help individuals as an adjunct to treatment and therapy. We have 3 classes of medications that help an individual who's battling the opiate use disorder. Through our Certified Community Behavioral Health Center, one of the first things they do, they see the physician on the first day, and they you know, they will be assessed and sometimes given that medication. And then, the last thing I want to do is just tell you a little story again, and this is not an actual picture of John, but this is just the story of somebody that came to us that he was a local guy that we saw pushing a shopping cart every day. He was homeless, and he ended up coming to us for help. We sent him to the emergency room. He came back into the clinic, the Certified Community Health Clinic. Today, he is thriving and doing really well. Those were a couple other stories. And George Mombrum, who I'm going to introduce, is going to talk about the evolving therapeutic community. Thank you.